Why do I love Would You Rather questions? How well am I at doing Q&A? And is this the first guest episode without a guest? Well, I talk about all that and more on this episode of the Toddcast. Hello everyone and welcome to the Toddcast. As always, I'm your host, Todd McManus. And of course, as you can probably tell through the title of this episode and from the questions earlier in the introduction, this episode is going to be a little bit different. Of course, this is the first ever even-numbered episode that does not have a guest. And honestly, I knew this was going to happen at some point, but I thought this would have happened way before this moment right now. Because even though I've had many guests on multiple times, every episode from even numbered from episode 2 to 108, so 2468 all the way to 108, has had a guest on there, or it was a best of episode. Now, this episode is, of course, episode 110, which is another thing that's like, wow. But this is the first episode that's going to be without a guest. And, of course, I'm not going to do the same thing that I do every other week, talk about the news, do some questions, review something, give a review of a series or something. This week's going to be a little bit different since there's no guest, and I'm not going to do the same thing like I normally do. What we're going to do this week is that this episode is actually going to be the first ever full Q&A episode, which means I've got a long list of many questions that I have been asked throughout my time hosting this podcast since January of 2020, a little over 2 years ago. I have been doing questions since episode 3. Of course, I didn't do it since episode 1 because nobody knew about me doing this podcast before episode 1 was released. So I've been doing questions pretty much every episode of myself. And I've got questions that I've never gotten to, that I forgot about that I had, and just never really answered before in a past episode. So this one's just going to be a full episode of me reading questions that many of you have submitted throughout the 2-year history of the Toddcast, and we'll just see how it goes. I got a long list here. I'm probably not going to be able to get to all of them this episode, and there will be, of course, probably more Q&A episodes in the future. Of course, I want to go ahead and say before I get to these questions, if you ever have a question, one of you listeners out there, one of the great and beautiful listeners out there of the Toddcast, if you ever have a question that you would like for me to answer on a future episode, it could be a would you rather question. You could ask me a question about the Toddcast. You can ask me, how was your day, or whatever. You can ask me literally any question you would like to be answered on an episode of the Toddcast. All you got to do is down in the description of this podcast, of this episode, on your podcast provider where you're listening to, on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever, even Amazon carries this podcast, which is another amazing thing. Down in the description below, where it gives you a little summary of what I talk about, there will be a link down there to my YouTube channel. You can tap on it, you can click on it, go down there, and it'll take you right to my YouTube channel, and then you can comment on one of the videos a question you have for a future episode if you ever want me to answer any question at all. Also, for reviewing drinks and candy, you can also leave a candy item or the name of a drink you would like for me to review in the future. But this episode is just going to be a full Q&A episode of many, many questions I have had throughout the 2 years so far. And some of them that I've looked through are would you rather questions. Some of them are about me. Some of them are just weird questions. And we'll just see how it goes. So first off, we'll just go ahead and start off right now. Of course, I'm not going to say your name. If you ever want to submit a question and you think, oh, is he going to say my name whenever he reads off my question? No. For your privacy, I do not ever read the names of the people who submit the questions. So if you really want to submit a weird question, but you're like, oh, I don't want him to read my name, like if Jaron, for example, many time guest here on the Toddcast, if he ever submitted a question, it was a weird question, I'm like, oh, let me read this question submitted by Jaron, I'm not going to do that, even if it was to him or anybody out there that's listening who I don't even know. If you ever just want to submit one and you're afraid of that, don't worry. I will never say your name because of privacy reasons, and you may not want your name to be mentioned. Some people might want their name to be mentioned, but for just to cover everybody, I will not be saying your name. So you can submit any question, any weird, random question you can think of or you look up. Just submit it, you ain't got to be worried that I'm going to say, hey, let's scold this person for asking a weird, dumb question. You don't have to say that. So, with all that being said, remember, if you want to ask me a question, go to the YouTube channel and comment one. So, we're just going to go down the list and see how far we can get in a certain amount of time. Of course, it would take me well over an hour probably to get through all these questions. So, we're not going to do that. I'll save more for a future episode of a future Q&A episode, that is. So, let's just go ahead and start in the order that I got them right now. So, all right, we're going to start off with the would you rather question. And all of you listening, whether you're at home, driving, or whatever you're doing, if you want to answer these questions, just give it a good thought, or you can think about what I would answer these questions. But play along, it's kind of fun, and especially with these would you rather questions, because I love them. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know why. Would you rather questions are just some of my favorite questions ever, because it really makes you think, depending on what the either this or this question is, So we'll just start off with this one. Would you rather hunt and butcher your own meat or never eat meat again? Oh, that is interesting. Well, so the scenario is you can still eat anything you want, including meat, but you would have to go out and kill and cut up the animals to get your own meat, whether it be chicken, cows, pigs for pork, anything like that, or you can eat anything except meat for the rest of your life. I really can't go without meat, honestly. Imagine you get like a chicken sandwich from somewhere and there's just no chicken on it. You're having to eat just buns and lettuce or whatever else you get on a sandwich, like a hamburger. If you get like a Big Mac, there's no meat on there, It's very interesting to think about. Because it's like, do you want to just cut out meat for the rest of your life? You'll eat anything else. You can eat ice cream, candy, you can vegetables, fruit, just anything, literally anything but meat. And there's a lot of food out there that does not contain meat. But when you think about it, meat is like the root and basis of a lot of foods, whether it be hamburgers or, of course, if you put any type of meat topping on your pizza, like pepperoni, bacon, or anything, or any kind of sausage or something, Breakfast would be without sausage or bacon. You can't eat a hamburger with meat, with a meat patty. You can't eat chicken sandwich with chicken. You can't eat chicken tenders anymore, And it's like that's the main food item for a lot of restaurants is either the hamburger or chicken, like Popeyes. They got chicken in the name, But you can just give it up and eat anything else. Or you can still eat everything else, but you have to hunt and butcher your own meat. I think I would do the hunt and butcher your own meat only because it still gives me the option to eat the meat. Like whenever you say never eat meat again, of course I never can again. I can choose to butcher and hunt my own meat, but I don't have to do that every day. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't have to do that once a week or something, Like how much meat does one cow give off? Or how much, like one chicken, you save it up, you can eat a bunch, or if I killed a cow and was getting steak out of it, or like how much does one meat from a pig, just one pig, give off? How much pork is that when you put it in retrospective? Like, and this is just being by myself, like my family, friends, and everybody else around me can still go to Walmart or wherever to buy their meat, Which, when you think about it, that means you can't get meat from fast foods. But what if I, kill a chicken, butcher it myself, and then I take it to Popeyes for them to cook? That'd be pretty good, because you got, like, homegrown chickens, and you're taking them to Popeyes for them to bread them. Like, you're getting, like, custom-made chicken tenders from Popeyes. That'd be a pretty good scenario myself. So I think out of those two, I would pick the hunt and butcher your own meat, because it's still giving me the option to eat meat. Because never eat meat again, it's out of the question. I can't even eat or think about it ever again, But hunting and butchering my own meat, whether it's cow, pig, chicken, deer, I guess you can include fish with that as well. So I'd have to get big into hunting and fishing. I don't know. It would be interesting to see that way. And that's the question I have, is how much meat does one cow give off? That way I don't have to, just slaughter a field full of cows. I can go and just take them all out of the pasture. You know what I'm saying? But, oh, that'd be terrible. But, how much does one cow give off? How much meat does one, I've hunted deer when I was young. I haven't in years. But, how much does one deer give off? You know what I'm saying? And for all the vegans out there, I know this is a terrible thing to start out with. But, I'm a meat eater. It's my podcast. I can talk about what I want. So yeah, out of that question, I'll hunt and butcher my own meat. That way I can still be able to eat it whenever I want. I just have to kill it myself. So yeah. Next question we got is actually meat related again. If you could only eat one type of meat for the rest of your life, which would it be? Interesting. So we're talking what type of animal then, I guess? One type of meat, so you got your cow meat, which I don't think you call it that. It'd be like steak meat, but hamburgers come from that too, so we'll say meat from one specific animal for the rest of my life. So can I eat only chicken, or only meat from cows, meat from pigs, deer meat, I guess either way, it's do I give up chicken or do I give up hamburgers and steaks? But I could get steaks and hamburgers from deer as well. But then there's pigs. And it's it's very hard to think about, because if I don't choose pig, I lose bacon. But can I make cow bacon? Good Lord. I'm just killing all these animals apparently. I guess I'd have to choose cow. Any meat that comes from a cow, because you got hamburgers and steaks, which is other than those two, chicken would be at the top. But what else are you eating? How long would chicken last before it gets old? You can make different hamburgers. You can make different steaks. You can throw a patty melt in there with the same type of meat, hamburger with patties. I guess I'd have to choose cow for that one, because when you think about it, God, that's just really hard. That's a really difficult question, because I don't want to lose everything. It's I'm losing pork, anything to do with pigs and pork and bacon, And then you got your hamburgers and your steak from cow, and then you got all the other meat from deer. I guess I'd have to give up fish too, because that's still a meat. Yeah, I'll just choose cow. That way I can just get anything and everything out of it. I'll make some new stuff. And I'm not saying I'm not eating like meat from a cow every single day, but you got to think of what meat from a certain animal is used the most and used more differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got your chicken sandwich, you got your chicken and dumplings, like, you got your chicken tenders, you got your chicken wings. You know, like, chicken is got a wide variety of different food types that it can make. And then, of course, you have, but, like, can you make more stuff with chickens? Like how cows can go from hamburgers, and then you could have steaks. You know, those are two very different things, but both meat from the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think I might go with chicken after saying that. I think I've changed my own mind because of what I've just said, you know. Yeah, I'm going to go with chicken then, because chicken offers so much of a variety of different foods that I could eat probably one meal a day for like probably a week or more. That's different things of chickens. Like I've said, like the chicken and dumplings, chicken sandwich, chicken tenders, chicken wings, boneless wings, or like our full rotisserie chicken from Sam's or wherever, or Walmart or wherever, you know. Yeah, I would choose chicken then to answer that question. Next question we got is, what is your favorite thing about living in the southern United States? That's a good question. What is my favorite thing? I don't really have, like, I can't give you like a really good specific answer because I've only lived here. Like, I'm 22 years old and I've lived in the same area for that amount of time. The house that I currently live in was built when I was 2 years old. I had my second birthday in the house that I live in now. And it was finished in like the middle of 2001. The house was finished built before 9/11 happened. And I still live in it. So I've been living in this house for over 20 years now. And I mean, I like it. I like where I live. I like the area, the living out in nowhere land. And being in a small town, you know, I like that. It's just the way I've been taught and grew up as, you know, like I've never lived anywhere else. I've taken vacations to big cities and going up to the mountains and driving through gigantic cities, you know, like going and like staying one night in Dallas was enough for me at the time, you know, like I feel like you could spend like a whole month in Dallas and not do everything because there's so much stuff. God, like you can look on the map and it's like Dallas is like Texas is already so big. It takes you like more than a day to drive through the entire state. But it feels like Dallas takes up half of it for some reason because Dallas is so big compared to other cities, you know. And you don't have to worry about anybody like coming to your house or whatever when you live out in the middle of nowhere. But then again, I can't get delivery. Like Uber Eats and DoorDash does not reach where I live because I live far away from people apparently. But my favorite thing about living in the South is I don't know, like I would say like it feels like more people in the South are more like carefree, but those type of people are everywhere across the entire world. It feels like a lot of people, like you can talk to random people you don't even know, and the way you can talk to them is that you act like both people will act like they know each other. And I've never seen or talked to this person in my life. Like with a bunch of different people I've interviewed on here in the past, I've never met most of them before. And whenever I talk to them for the first time, it seems like I've known them for years. And I don't know if that's just me, that's them, both of us, like, combination of stuff. But having the connection like that makes it feel good. And I don't think that's just a Southern thing. I feel like that's just trying to be a people person or whatever. I don't know. Which where I live, I can't say the weather, because one day it's 80 degrees and then the next it's 30. Like in one day the weather fluctuates. I mean, the day this is being recorded, the high is 73 and the low is 33. So, I mean, there's literally a 40-degree difference within 12 hours of each other. Like, it's 71 right now, and then tonight it'll get down and, like, right at 37, 38 degrees. So, I can't say it's always hot. I mean, it's usually warm during most of the days. I would say at least 3/4 of the year it's hot, and that's one because we're more south and closer to the equator because of weather and geography. And it has snowed here. I mean, it snowed, what was that, last year, I think? Yeah, it was last year. We had that real bad snowstorm and that 100 and something car pileup happened close to Dallas or wherever. But, you can say the South is all the same, but it's not. If you consider Texas in the South, of course, all the way to Florida and the Carolinas, we're not all the same. There's people, everybody's not even in the same in the state of Louisiana. I live in the northern part of the state, and then, once you get closer to the southern part of the state, more people have different accents. I mean, accents fluctuate pretty much by city in Louisiana, because you go 1 mile more south and people's accent starts to get more southern, or Creole, Cajun, whatever, probably I can honestly say the food really is probably one of my favorite things, because I've been in northern states, I've been in other states before, but I've been in, what's the most northern state I've been in? I've been in Ohio, I've been in Pennsylvania, and I've been in West Virginia. That's probably the most northern I've been, through, of course, Tennessee, Kentucky, and all that, But going up there and seeing the way the food is and different restaurants up there, and they have restaurants up there that we don't have down here, but we have restaurants down here that they don't have up there, more locally owned or only southern restaurants. Like Popeyes, yeah, it was made here in Louisiana, but them things are all across the country, And I've always said that Popeyes tastes better in Louisiana than it does in any other state. That's just me. That's like people saying In-N-Out tastes better in California. And a lot of people agree with that, because there's In-N-Outs in Texas that apparently aren't that good compared to the ones in California. And then, Shake Shack was made in New York, but there's actually one in New Orleans. And I don't know if the one in New Orleans will taste as good as the ones in New York, So, I mean, there's a lot of things, but probably my favorite thing, probably the food. I'd honestly have to say, because, I mean, you can't go wrong with a lot of shrimp and crawfish and seasoning the crap out of everything. But the food really is awesome, I gotta say. So, yeah, I probably have to say the food for that one. So, next question is, when was the last time you were disappointed by something you bought or were going to buy? Oh, that's interesting. When was the last time I was disappointed in something I bought? I mean, most things that I get or buy usually aren't brand new. I like to wait and see, if I was younger and there was this new toy thing or whatever, like, I never, like if it was fidget spinners, for example, I know that's not like a big deal, or it was a big deal, but it's not like not a big purchase item, them things are everywhere, and they're small, and you just flick them around, I never was that big into them, but I never bought one, and it did a lot better than I thought it would, One thing, I just remember this one, the thing, what was it, the hoverboard that you can stand on with 2 feet, and then you can like lean forward, and it would go forward, and it had wheels on it, of course, because it actually does not hover. I was kind of disappointed in that, because I never bought it, but I never plan on buying one unless somebody gives me one as a gift or just for the heck of it, I guess. I never plan on buying that thing or any of them because I don't see the point, and I definitely know that it would get old and useless real soon. Because, yeah, it's cool to ride around in your house, from like down the hall into room to room, But like I can't go outside and use it in the grass because I feel like it wouldn't do good. Like that's another thing. I live in the South. Pretty much the ground is almost wet every day from the morning dew, and then it rains a lot usually. And then if it floods, and then if we have another snowstorm, it melts, everything gets wet again. And then now you got all that nasty, watery, muddy snow everywhere, that's just nasty and does not look pretty anywhere, and there's ruts all in the place everywhere. But like if it was like bigger, and I don't think I could balance on one of them things, honestly. I'm not scared of being on one of them. I don't think I've ever actually been on one. Because I've known people who bought them or got one at some point, and I've been around people who had one before, but me personally would never probably buy one. What else? Oh, there was this one thing that I bought. I wasn't really disappointed in it, but there was this one thing I got on Amazon, and it was... How can I explain this? It looked like this little, tube, can-looking thing, but it was real small, and you could hold it in the palm of your hand. And it had a lock on both sides, and it was like you had to push in the pin to unlock it. And then when you let it go, it would very quickly, in less than a second, unravel into this long, pole stick thing. And one time, the first time I ever did it, it cut my hand open. I was bleeding, and it was sharp. It really was, because it was supposed to be like a Chinese folding staff or something like that. And I got 2 of them. For some reason. I don't know why I got 2 of them. One of them has not been opened. One of them is still in the box, still in the packaging that it came in, which is just a little bitty box. And the other one's in a bag because I never wanted to touch it again because it scared the crap out of me, for one thing, because I unlocked it and pushed the pin in, and a pin slides in the middle. But if you still you could still hold it a certain way and it wouldn't open. But then when you what's it called? When you open your hand all the way and your fingers go all the way down to make your hand flat, it was supposed to unravel both ways into a staff that you could beat somebody with, I guess. And so there was no good way of doing it, because no matter which way I was trying to do it, it was either going to unravel and hit me in the foot, or when it would go up, it would just cut and slice my hand open. And I remember one time when I opened it, I unlocked the pen and then just threw it up in the air. And I still got them. Like, they're still in my room somewhere. And they're still, like, in the little, like, thing. Because you had to, like, roll it to close it. I got to find it now that I'm talking about it. I was not disappointed in it because it did what it was supposed to do. And it did what I knew it was going to do. But, God almighty, it was scary to open them things. Because it was opening those things was a life or death situation. Like, I'm either going to live or I am going to bleed to death from this thing cutting me open. Because it's like, you did not need to let it unravel so you can, like, beat up a robber or whatever. All you need to do is give them this thing unlocked and let them hold it in their hand and then just run away. Because they'd either have to run at you with it still raveled up in their hand, and then as soon as they would open their hand, it would unravel and then just cut them up into pieces, apparently. And I don't even know what it was made out of, because it was like metal, but it was really bendy. And it was metal, and it's like this silver looking thing, and I saw videos of it on like Instagram or whatever. But like, there's different stuff like that that's cool. Like, I remember like last year there were these like sticky ball things that got real famous on Instagram and social media and on TikTok especially, that they would stick together. And you would just people would just sit on their bed and just throw them up at the ceiling, and they would get stuck. But then they would fall down, like they wouldn't be stuck up there for like a day or whenever. They would just boop, stick, and then like slowly just fall back down to you, and it would just give you something to like pass the time with. Because these got real big during like when COVID was at its peak, whenever everybody was still at home, you know. These got really big and famous because of just giving us something else to do during COVID, I guess. What else? I really haven't bought anything lately that I remember that disappointed me. Because, I mean, most of the things I buy that's not food or gas at this point, is either something to do with this. Like, I buy different stuff to review and all that. But what else? Most of the things I usually buy nowadays are just like video games and I mean, those don't really disappoint me that much. No, there's nothing really like physical item that disappointed me. Like, I didn't buy something and just think like, man, this is garbage. You know, I haven't done that. If I have done that, I don't remember. That means it wasn't that big of a disappointment for me. But no, I don't really have an item that really disappointed me that I've bought. And what I was going to buy, and answering the second part to that question, is that those hoverboards kind of disappointed me because of how, I don't know, I wanted them to do more. You know what I'm saying? I wanted them to be able to like go out into the real world, outside the house and off the pavement, that they could do things like, can you ride this through a gravel road? No, I hardly doubt you could. I could barely ride a bicycle through a gravel road, let alone if I could even try with this hoverboard. I wish they like made either the tires bigger or made it a bigger, wider thing. That way you could do. I mentioned fidget spinners. They didn't disappoint me. They just were like, I just never understood how they become a big deal, you know, which then it made sense that we're all like, you know, sitting in the classroom or wherever, you know, like, and you're always constantly like moving your leg up and down or can't really stay focused or whatever, and then you got that fidget spinner, you just sit over there and just flick it round and round, and you're like, wow, this is entertaining for some reason, you know. Like, I mean, it was to me for a little while, but then I got old. That got old to me, and they sell them things. They were selling them things everywhere. Like, I remember when them things got big because they started selling them in like the toy section in Walmart, I'm pretty sure. And then before you know it, them things were being sold right at the cash register at the front. You could design your own, like online. They were selling these things in gas stations. Like, they were everywhere. Like, there was Batman ones. The part that spins as like different looking things, and it was wild. And you can get like the circle in the middle, like Captain America's shield. I remember seeing that one before. It was something. And it's so simple. Like a fidget spinner, the design of it, just to be able to hold the middle and just flick around these things that just spin. That's all it does. It's such a simple design. But whoever invented that, and with the company they went with, they are even billionaires. Got to be. Because of how big that become. And they're still famous. They're not like big, super big like they used to be. But they're still like around, people. So nothing really that I've bought has disappointed me, but it's been some stuff. I gotta find that staff now. I gotta find it and show it or to do something with it. I gotta figure out what to do with them things. So next question we got is do you like 3D glasses? No. 3D movies are cool. Like, I can't hold anything against a 3D movie because 3D movies are actually kind of cool when you watch them. I've watched, for some reason, we owned the Polar Express DVD, but in 3D. And I was trying to remember, like, how much of that movie would be good in 3D besides the train pulling up outside the house at the beginning it was in 3D. The snow was the coolest thing because it was like snowing right in front of me instead of just on the TV. And then, that's about it really that I can think of from that movie. I think like Santa, whenever he came in towards the end, he was in 3D, I think. And like Tom Hanks, the conductor, was he the conductor? I guess he was. Train, clicking all the tickets, That was cool in 3D. When he was dancing and singing and all that. What was another movie that I watched in 3D? I feel like I've watched one of the Transformers movies in 3D. I watched the first Venom movie in 3D. And that was cool to see like Venom in 3D, There are some movies that you can watch, like I've seen on TV, that you can tell they were made for 3D because of how like the bullet, whenever they shoot a gun, you can tell how the scene is, that it would be better in 3D and that it was kind of made for it because of like, if somebody like shoots a gun and the camera pans around to the front of the gun and you see the bullet come out of the gun and go towards the camera, like coming at you towards the screen, you can tell a lot of that was made for the 3D part of a movie. Because if movies, they give the option for the movie to be in 3D, they got to give you something. You're not just going to watch a normal movie, but in 3D. And they're like, oh, he swung his fist to hit this guy, and it come out of the screen. Oh, like that's not gonna wow. Like Venom was great. It's a good movie in my opinion, and that type of movie is what's good for a 3D movie, to have those big fight scenes, and for Venom, the symbiote himself, to like come at you through the screen, is good. But you can't just have like a normal regular movie. There's movies with a lot of guns and a lot of shooting, are usually good in better movies for 3D because you can have like the bullets are sliding past you on the screen. It's like, whoa, look at them. I can see it. I can touch it right now, That kind of thing is what needs to be good for 3D movies. But 3D glasses is what the question was. Do I like them? I wish they were better because I don't know. Like 3D glasses, I mean, they're poorly made because they're made to be thrown away. You know, you can take them home with you, but you're just once you leave the theater, most people just throw them away because like, when are you going to use a set of 3D glasses before again? Like the last 3D movie I watched, I think was the Venom movie, and that movie came out in what, like 2018? When did the first Venom movie come out? I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, it came out November 2018. So it's like I haven't watched a 3D movie in like 3.5 to 4 years, and I think I honestly probably do have a pair of 3D glasses in my house somewhere because of the Polar Express movie. That movie came with 3D glasses because it was like in a box, and it was the Polar Express DVD in 3D, but you could like set it. You know, you could, whenever you put the DVD in and you go like to the main menu, you could set like, I want to watch this in normal, or do you want to watch this in 3D? And I was like, yeah, I gotta watch this in 3D because 3D movies are cool, just the concept of them. But I wish there was a way that, if there was a way they could do 3D movies just without wearing the 3D glasses at all, and you can just watch it like you were watching a normal movie, but it was in 3D, that'd be cool. But you do need something to be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? If you ever try to watch a 3D movie without wearing the 3D glasses, God, that'll give you a headache because of all the blue and red, and it's double. When you watch it without 3D glasses, it's like there's two of everything on the screen. And it's weird. Like, I've tried to watch a movie that was 3D without the glasses, and it just makes your head hurt trying to focus because there's two of everything on the screen. One of them's red and one of them's blue, and they're supposed to go together when you wear the glasses. So it's like, I don't know what I'm paying attention to when you don't have them on. That's why you gotta have them when you watch a 3D movie, because it's in 3D, and the glasses will help you with that. But I mean, the glasses, I mean, they've been working on that for years, you know, perfecting 3D glasses. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of like them, you know. I mean, they're all right. The 3D movies themselves are okay. They're not my favorite type of movie. I just like a normal movie here and there, you know. As long as the movie's like a little over an hour long, all the way to 3 hours long, you know. But, I mean, I've watched, like, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League was 3.5 hours. I watched that all in one sitting, you know. And, like, the Batman coming out next month in March is supposed to be about 3 hours long, or a little less, you know, like 2 hours and 50 minutes or so. But 3D movies don't need to be that long. I think 3D movies should be 2 hours or less because of wearing the glasses. I don't know if you could, like, I know you could wear the glasses for a long time, but will they mess up your vision if you wear those glasses for like an extended amount of time? Like if you wore those glasses for like a couple days, how would they mess you up? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I've always wondered. If you wore them for a very, very long time, depending on your depiction of a very long time, you know, I mean, mine's just a couple days. Like, if you wore them for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, could they mess up your vision? Because, like, the right eye was, or one eye's red and the other one's blue. I don't know which side it is. I guess it could be different for either one. But, like, one side's red and one side's blue. So, does that make you see, like, everything in red and blue, you know? Like, but yeah, I mean, 3D glasses themselves are okay. I don't really have a problem with them. But, yeah, I mean, I like them, you know? And 3D movies are okay with me, you know? So, I think we're going to go ahead and go to the last question on this Q&A episode, which is going to be, what is your go-to snack at the movie theater? So, still talking about movies. My go-to snack, honestly, whenever I go to the movies, I usually don't get popcorn. I'm usually a person that will get just candy, because usually when I go, I'm usually with somebody else, of course, you know. whether it's one friend, a group of friends, whoever, I just get candy because a lot of the other people that I usually go with will always get popcorn or something. So of course it's like I'm going to get Diet Coke, I'm going to get a thing of candy, and my go-to candy is usually either the watermelon Sour Patch Kids or what are they? The Sweet Tart Ropes or whatever, they're not the Nerd Ropes because they're actually like full on just ropes. They don't have the Nerds candy on them. But yeah, that's usually mine. I always go for the candy because whenever I go with people, we usually end up eating like after. I don't understand. I don't really know why people eat food before they go to the theater, because I'm just going to end up having to go to the bathroom during the movie because most movies are over 2 hours long nowadays. So it's like, what I always do is a good idea is you get a drink, you can get like one thing of candy, like the ropes or some watermelon Sour Patch Kids. And then you sit down, you watch a movie, you drink, you eat your candy. You might have to go to the bathroom once or twice during the movie. I end up drinking a whole large Diet Coke before the movie starts. Because I always try to get there before, of course you want to get there before the movie starts. But I always end up getting there before the good commercials start, which is where they just, they have Maria Menounos out there talking about whatever service that the theater offers, and Cinemark and all. Cinemark Plus, get this, and you can be able to pay $20 a month or whatever, and you could get half off all the snacks you want and collect up your points, and you might get a free movie one day. Probably not, though. So it's like, I don't even know. I don't even But yeah, I'm not a big popcorn person. I like popcorn. I love popcorn. Buttered popcorn is one of the best things ever. I just don't eat it often, or even sometimes when I go to the movies, because of the kernels getting stuck in between my teeth. The little brown pieces on the inside of the popcorn, of the actual kernels. Getting those little pieces stuck in between your teeth can hurt. And it just aggravates me, So it's like I just save the trouble by just not eating popcorn, which popcorn's so good. And I used to eat so much popcorn when I was a kid. Just pop a bag of it in the microwave and just eat it. When I was younger, I still love popcorn. It's just I don't go out of my way to get it, and whenever I go to the theater, it's usually not my number one thing. I just get a thing of candy, a drink, and then boom, I'm good until we go eat Waffle House or whatever. Used to when we were younger, and it was a bunch of us going to the movies. We always waited so late to go see movies for some reason. And then we'd go to IHOP because it was either that or Waffle House. And this was before more people accepted Waffle House, I guess, because I love Waffle House. And I guess more people accept it as another place to eat now because I like it so much. But yeah, I always go to IHOP afterwards. And then I'd always just get a burger because I'm not that big of a fan of IHOP. I always would get a burger from there because it was always all right. And I always felt bad. I always felt bad for them because we were always that group of people that would show up to IHOP at 11 o'clock at night or whenever, 11 p.m. to getting close to midnight. And I feel like there was only 2 people working at the IHOP whenever 6 or 7 of us would show up, because there was the waitress who would take our order, and I'm pretty sure there was one dude cooking the food in the back, So it was always down to just taking, and it would take so long for them to bring the food out. And I don't even know why. I know why it would take them so long to bring the food out. Because, one, there was a bunch of us. And two, there was just a bunch of us. I don't really know what else. But there was so many of us that would just go there. And, I mean, it was all right, But, like, yeah. You always just got to eat something little or small at the movie theater. That way you have enough room to go eat. Or unless you're just somebody who eats a lot of food all the time, you can eat whatever you want. I don't really care. But for me, I usually get, like I said, the watermelon Sour Patch Kids or the ropes is what I usually get to eat at the theater. And with that, I think that's going to do it for this Q&A episode of the Toddcast. I want to thank all of you for listening, and like I've said before, if you have a question you would like to be featured on a normal episode of the Toddcast with me, or one day it might be featured on a future Q&A episode in the future, of course. And I don't know when the next one of these will happen. Of course, I'll tell y'all this, the Q&A episodes like I just did, that are just a full episode of Q&A and of me answering questions, will only take place on guest episodes where there is no guest. Just like this episode right now. It will not, most likely, it will not take the place of a normal, regular episode. And so, I want to thank all of y'all for listening once again. Make sure you listen next week for my Boba Fett review. Book of Boba Fett ended this past week. And Peacemaker will be ending next week as well. So I'm going to be reviewing both Peacemaker and the Book of Boba Fett. So, as always, please rate and subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. And click that bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded. And make sure you follow the Toddcast only on Instagram for all your updates and Toddcast needs at _Toddcast_, only on Instagram, of course. And make sure you tell your friends and your family to give it a listen. And thank all of you once again for listening to this Q&A episode of the Toddcast. And if you want to know what's going to happen next week, well, I guess you just have to tune in to find out. Only on the Toddcast.